Johnny, they were feeling low. Life's a grind, man, it was moving slow. Tired of the struggles, tired of the fight, they turned to the meat and it felt so right. With steaks on their plates and the grill fired up, they found a new rhythm and filled their cup. Joy started flowing, laughter's out of sight. Now they're living loud, embracing the night. Yeah, they went full carnivore and the joy has begun. Sickness and gloom like shadows they run. With every bite taken, they're feeling so great. Sharing their message, they just can't wait. So tune in, my friend, each Wednesday night. Join Real Talk with Brian and Johnny. What a sight. Oh, what a sight.
All right. Hello. We are live. Johnny, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing good, Brian. How you doing?
Good. I am doing really good. I'm going to say hi to some people here that are already commenting. Linda is here. Hello. Good to see you, Linda.
Hey, Linda.
Paul is here. Hello.
What's up, Paul?
Rick, Charger Mopart.
Rick.
Donna Ray Bacon Runner is here.
Hey, Bacon Runner.
It looks like that's everybody that's here so far. Go ahead and say hi in the chat if you haven't already. Hit the like button. So topic tonight. I just kind of came up with here's Peter. Hello, Peter.
Hey, Peter.
Good to see you. I just came up with talking about surviving a holiday because Easter is this Sunday and a lot of people celebrate Easter, so I figure we could talk about that. So let's see. Okay, yeah, I'm caught up on comments. So I guess I usually, when we have a topic, I have you start off. So I'll have you start off. I know that we didn't really talk ahead of time, so I hope I'm not throwing you under the bus here. But any piece of this topic of trying to survive the holidays while on the carnivore diet that you would like to get us started with?
Well, obviously, Easter's coming up this coming Sunday, and unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, I have to work all day Sunday. So I'll be at work probably 10 hours Sunday, but my wife is going to fix a big ham. My wife is very traditional. We always do turkey on Thanksgiving. We do ham on Christmas and Easter. So she's got a relatively big ham. And as you guys know, we're getting ready to move, put our house on the market. We've got several freezers at the house, so we're trying to eat everything out of the freezer because the freezers are going to go in storage until our new house is complete. So hey, Steadfast. But so we're going to eat a ham. I mean, we would probably have ham anyway, but this one we've had in there for a while. It's been frozen solid, and I think she took it out and getting it all ready to go. She is going to make a green bean casserole. I'm going to do my best not to partake in too much of that, but I'll eat a bunch of the ham. I do enjoy ham. I'm not big on turkey for Thanksgiving. I know it's tradition, and my wife's very traditional, and I don't know, I just don't really care for turkey, but I do love ham, so won't be a problem doing that. And I don't think she's making any desserts or anything. It's just going to be the ham and the green bean casserole. And like I say, I'll probably won't get off work till 7 o'clock at night, so I'll partake in lots of the ham. How about you, Brian? What are you guys doing for Easter?
Yeah, real quick, Steadfast, hello, Pam, and Lance. Hello to all three of you. Thanks for joining tonight. So yeah, I wasn't sure a few days ago what we were gonna do. My daughter and her fiance did come up from Charleston area, South Carolina, and they have to go back. I think it's Saturday night or Sunday morning. So we're doing like on Saturday, we're gonna do our Easter get together instead of Sunday. So it's gonna be a little bit different. But we had talked about maybe possibly doing like prime rib or something like that. And after talking to my wife again, she's like, no, we're doing ham and all that stuff. So we're going to have ham. I do like ham. I have lately been eating mostly beef. So it's going to be a little bit of a change for me. Other than maybe a few eggs here and there, it's been all beef. So that'll be a little bit of different for me. It'll be a little bit change. But we'll have that. We'll have like a deviled egg. I make homemade kielbasa, and that's already made. It's ready to go, just be cooked. So we're going to have that on Saturday as well. So I'm going to have pork there. I'm going to have the ham. I'm going to have the kielbasa. So it's going to be a little bit different than what I've been eating lately. But yeah, we're going to have those types of things. Now, other people, yeah, they're going to have these cheesy potatoes, which are the hash brown potato, so it's not the best in the world. Right. I'm going to try and stay away from it. I don't know that there's really a whole lot there's probably gonna be some kind of desserts that I'm gonna try and do my best to stay away. Hopefully I will. I'm usually fairly good at that, so I should be okay with that, but we'll see how it goes. So Peter did ask a question that I wanted to bring up. So last time we were talking about some of the struggles that you were having with getting back on track, Carnivore. And Peter said, any luck bringing carnivore foods to work to help prevent you from hitting the convenience stores and buying the junk food?
Yes, absolutely. As a matter of fact, we were on last week and I weighed 276, and today I weighed 266, down 10 pounds in 1 week. And I have eaten out several times, but just went to Wendy's, got the Wendy's triple baconator, I guess. No bun, no condiments, and they kind of know me now at Wendy's, so I just get the fork and the knife, and I drink sparkling water from the fountain as opposed to diet soda. And I've had that probably 3 or 4 times. Have bacon and eggs every day. My wife and I was off yesterday. My wife and I went to this restaurant called Breakfast Time. I ended up doing OMAD yesterday. I got up and I took down all my solar panels, getting my house ready to move, and my wife said she wanted to take me out to eat, so we went to this place called Breakfast Time. They have just breakfast and lunch. They close at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but they're a really good restaurant. And I decided to get breakfast. You can get breakfast or lunch pretty much anytime. And I had a 5-egg meat lovers omelet and some ice water, and it was really good, really good. They charge you. Most omelets come 3-egg omelets, but for $1.99 you can add an egg. So I had 2 more eggs, and then it comes with grits and biscuits or whatever. I didn't have that. I just had the eggs. And it's got cheese, cheese, sausage, bacon, smoked sausage. It's a fantastic omelet, I think. So I have done remarkable this week. It's been a very challenging week at work, but I rose to the occasion. And right hip's already stopped hurting. Back pain went away. And one day, I think, Friday and Sunday, I just didn't eat at all. I ate breakfast and then I ate when I got home. Thawed out some ground beef out of the freezer, and I had the dish that I don't know if I invented it or whatever, but it's just browned ground beef with some sour cream. And I put some cheese in it Friday, and then I think Sunday I just had a couple of burger patties. So I did great. This week has been, I feel like I got the momentum going. I'm feeling so much better. My mental health is better. I feel a little more optimistic about the future. Hip pain's gone, back pain's gone. So thanks for asking. Yeah, this has been a fantastic week. I truly feel like I got that grounded momentum. This is not like I'm not skimming the surface. I really have true momentum, and both feet firmly on the ground and going forward. Yeah, and 10 pounds in a week. When you're as big as I am, that's really not, as a percentage wise, a lot of weight, but sure feels good. Feels good to step on that scale and see it going down.
It's a good. That's a good difference. That's a pretty good accomplishment. Nice job.
Appreciate
it. Thomas is here. Hello, Thomas.
Hey, Thomas.
We got a couple of comments here about some sales at the store, so let's bring these up.
Yeah.
Peter says Winn-Dixie has pork shoulder roast on sale for 69 cents a pound. He's gonna pick up 2 of them. And he did say something about, I'm sure Rick will too, and I saw Rick said somewhere where yes, he will. So I think he did. Let me go back. Rick did say something about it was a 10 or 20, $20 purchase. So just be aware of that. And Paul says he got a 5-pound bone-in rib roast for $7 a pound. That's pretty good.
Wow, that's really good.
Yep. This is the time of year sometimes you can see those deals. Unfortunately, I didn't see great deals by me this time around, but that's okay.
We used to have that grocery store chain Winn-Dixie here in North Carolina when we first moved here. They all closed up and
Mm.
went away, but I know they're still in Florida because when I drove a tractor trailer, I would pick up at their distribution center down in Florida. But I wonder where else they are. I know Rick's in Florida, but was that Peter said the special was in Winn-Dixie? Where are you at,
Yeah.
Peter? What state is Peter in? I wonder.
I think Peter's also in Florida, isn't he? But it's
Yeah,
northern
probably,
part of
yeah.
Florida. I think so.
Yeah.
But we'll see if he responds there. Let's see. Peter also said, Johnny, cleaning up your diet and keeping the fat levels high will reduce or eliminate any anxiety you've been having regarding your move in the job situation. Yeah.
And I will say this one more thing. I have eaten a lot of butter. I mean, when I get that snacky or that anxious feeling, I want something snack. I really enjoy the Kerrygold salted butter, and I went to Sam's and bought several boxes. You know, it's got 3 or 4. I guess it's got 4 of the sticks of butter in each pack, and that's the cheapest way to get it is at Sam's or Costco. And I've eaten a stick of butter pretty much every day, and still, you know, even doing that, I still lost 10 pounds. My boss took me out to lunch today. We had a meeting at work, and they took me out. They wanted to go to Golden Corral. I had a big piece of roast, and I had 2 sirloin steaks and a glass of water, and that's all I had. And my boss and my boss's boss took me out, and they're trying to woo me to stay. It ain't working, but anyway, you know, they had carrot cake and they had pie and ice cream and all this stuff, and I wasn't the least bit tempted. I got the roast and the 2 steaks, and I was pretty full. And I drank a glass of they have sparkling water now at the Golden Corral, and I was perfectly satisfied, satiated. And then when I got home from some other running around I had to do, I had about a half a stick of butter left, and that was my supper. I had a half stick of butter about 2 hours ago. So yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing how good you feel when you give your body the fat cholesterol that it really needs.
Yeah. Yeah. Peter says butter is his natural anti-anxiety pill. As you may know, I've suffered with chronic anxiety for decades, and butter and animal fat keeps the anxiety at or near 0. Pretty cool.
Yep. And that's kind of where I'm at right now, too, for the same reason yet.
Coach Edens is here
Coach
for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
She has a client call, it looks like, in a little bit.
Yep.
All right. Good luck with your client call. All right. So I went to my general practitioner doctor this morning. This is the doctor that last fallish time frame I went to for the first time. I think it was like September, October, somewhere in there. Because my previous doctor that I had been seeing moved, and I didn't want to stay with the practice because the one guy that was still left at the practice, well, first of all, it was hard to get in there, but he wasn't really big at all about low carb dieting, right? So I went to this new doctor last fall, and he seemed really cool about low carb and everything. So today was like a follow-up visit. It was supposed to be after having the CAC scan done and a couple other things, just like, you know, check back in type thing, right? And, you know, we talked, I don't know, probably a month or 2 ago about when I went back to my cardiologist after the CAC score of 0, and the cardiologist still kept, and really he hadn't before talked much about it, but he was really on the whole high cholesterol, LDL, that type of thing. He even said stuff like your cholesterol keeps increasing. It's like, actually, it was slightly lower the last time from the year before, but whatever. So I was really disappointed when I went to the cardiologist, right? Like that's got me wondering if I should even go to that cardiologist, that kind of stuff. But when I went back to the doctor today, with this doctor, completely different, just like the first time. So I really like this guy. So I think I'm going to keep him as my doctor. He's pretty pro to low carb, though he doesn't necessarily tell you like that's what you should do, right? But he's perfectly fine with it. And he said quite opposite of what my cardiologist said. He said that my levels of cholesterol, that were perfect. They were great. So that was really nice to have that type of a visit today. He was, of course, really happy about the CAC score being a 0 and all that kind of stuff. And he even said, like, your last blood work was in August of last year. You don't need blood work again yet. Maybe this August, but no reason to do anything before that. So very cool, very refreshing to see a doctor that's not all about the money and putting you on a prescription and all that kind of stuff, right? He seemed to really care about a person's health. So it's really cool I found a doctor like that.
Yep. I think more and more and more, it's like the ripple that becomes the tidal wave. Eventually so many doctors, because I think the vast majority of doctors, at least the ones I know, and I'm in the, been around the medical field most of my adult life. I think most doctors really want to do the right thing. Their hands are just tied. They're told by these corporate hospital systems, which they've now had to become employees of versus independent contractors. You got to see so many patients. You got to, make so many prescriptions. You only have so many minutes per patient, and they don't have time to, to say or do anything. But I think the tide is shifting, because when I went to my cardiologist, my electrophysiocardiologist, that one that, as working with my AFib, and I showed him the bill. I had, Brian, I had the ablation, I guess about 4 years ago now. And I went in the hospital at 6:30 in the morning. At 5:30 that afternoon, I was discharged. I didn't even spend the night at the hospital. And my bill was $265,000. And I didn't have insurance at the time. And I went back for my follow-up visit, and I showed my doctor, my cardiologist, or electrophysiocardiologist, the one that did the ablation, the bill. And he just put his, he just basically just put his face in his hands, and he says, this is crazy. He said, the system can't keep going like this. This is crazy. And he was very, very pro low carb. And he said, I'm doing everything right. He took me off the blood thinners. He said, John, the blood thinners, the risk benefit analysis says you don't need to be on blood thinners because your other symptoms are basically non-existent. And at the time I was really working out hard and stuff. So, and then my primary care doctor, he had never heard of Carnivore. At least he said he hadn't. But I've kind of, swayed him, and he and I are the same age, and he desperately needs to address his health. But I think eventually you're going to see more and more doctors like the one you went to today, Brian. They're going to start questioning everything that's going on around them, because if the doctors stand up, then the hospitals have to change. The insurance system has to change, because they basically use the doctors. Without doctors, they can't bill. If they can't bill, nobody makes money. So I think the doctors hold a lot more power, and all the Facebook groups I'm in and so forth, and some of the other, YouTube stuff that I watch, it seems like more and more and more doctors, especially younger doctors, are really coming around to low carb. You look at what Secretary Kennedy's, doing, talking about this. You've heard some pretty national figures talk about low carb, keto, carnivore. I'd like to believe that eventually, at least half of the physicians out there will be receptive to maybe not necessarily carnivore, but just low carb in general.
Yeah. I think that can definitely happen. I think that right now too many of the doctors are basically just writing prescriptions, right? And they can easily be replaced by AI. If they don't become add more of that human factor and really care about your health and really talk to you, they're going to all be replaced by somebody just doing something online and an AI prescription being written for the patient. So I think they are going to be forced to actually be more caring and be a real person, and not just that person that just writes a script.
Because when you go to the doctor and they have, 6 minutes and 22 seconds per patient, they need to know what your list of symptoms are. They don't look you in the eye. They're in such a hurry. And based on whatever your symptoms are, they write the prescription based on those symptoms, right? Well, AI could do that. AI could do that easy. Here's my symptoms. Here's my, history. Here's my, the other medications I take. And the AI could spit out, 3 or 4 prescriptions just as easy as the doctor could, for 20 cents versus, $300,000 a year.
Yeah.
I don't know how long it'd be before that happens, but I can think that would happen.
So Peter says, I only go to the doctor once a year for my annual physical and every 6 months to get my thyroid medication adjusted. Otherwise, I've got zero use for doctors. Haven't been to a dentist in 15 years. Teeth and gums perfect. You know, I can't remember the last time I went to the dentist. It's been a long time. It really has. And I have no problems with my teeth. Matter of fact, since I've been carnivore, they're whiter than they've ever were before carnivore.
And my teeth aren't white, but I can tell you prior to going carnivore, I would be very reticent to eat anything really chewy, like gristle of meat, chew ice or anything like that. I wouldn't consider it because my teeth just didn't feel strong. Now I have all the confidence in the world in my teeth and gums. I can bite, chew, bite anything. And I don't ever have tooth pain. I used to have tooth pain all the time. One tooth, they would just hurt sporadically for a couple of days for who knows why. And I can't remember the last time I had any tooth pain. And, even with all the screw ups I've had, even lately, never had any tooth pain. But yeah, we can put a lot of doctors and dentists out of business if people would just eat the right thing.
Right. Okay, let's switch back to our topic really quick because I want to ask you a question on this. So, trying to survive as a carnivore at holidays, what would be your best advice if somebody is going to be at a family gathering and they expect that there's going to be a lot of carby type of food? Sure, there could very well be some foods they can eat as well, but there's going to be a lot of carby type of food. What would be your best advice for them to try and help them to stay as clean as possible?
Well, I would think if the person has the time or the wherewithal, you're going to something like that where you anticipate that if you could make a dish, and make enough for everybody, or a good bit of it that's carnivore friendly. So you're bringing something, you're partaking in, the breaking of the bread, if you'll pardon the pun, bringing, and then you can have that, and then you can kind of cherry pick anything else that's low carb. For example, let's say you went somewhere and they brought in a bunch of pizzas. And sometimes, if you have a big gathering, it's easy to order pizzas. Well, you can eat the cheese and the pepperoni and the sausage off the pizza and just leave the crust, I've seen people do that. But for me, if you could take, I don't know, some kind of hamburger cheese casserole with some sour cream and spices in it or something like that in a big casserole dish, then you could, because a lot of people say eat before you go, and that's fine. There's merit in that. But don't you kind of want to sit down and eat with everybody else and not just sit there with your arms folded and you don't have a plate in front of you? So if you prepared and took your own carnivore dish, but had enough to share with everybody, then you're double benefit. You're partaking in bringing something that everybody can share in, and you're guaranteeing that you have a carnivore friendly food to eat, and you get to eat with everybody else instead of being the odd man out over in the corner. So that was just, that's just my thought.
Yeah, that's good advice. I want to bring this up. Peter said, because I kind of noticed this too. Says, Johnny, I'm noticing you seem happier and doing great today. That is awesome.
Feel amazing.
I've noticed you're bringing more energy today than last week, for sure. And the mood seems better. You seem happier and so forth. So you can really see the difference. I'd even go as far as, I'd even go as far as saying that I think your cheeks are thinner than they were last week. I
don't have the puffiness has definitely gone down some. Not where I want to be, but I think if I took a picture from last week's episode and put it right next to this, I think you could see a difference. Maybe not, maybe that's wishful thinking, but I can tell you that, the 10 pounds in a week, a lot of that's water. So a lot of that's, puffiness and inflammation. I mean, obviously I haven't lost 10 pounds of fat because I've had, pretty consistent, probably 2,500 to 3,000 calories because I've been pretty busy this week, but it's all been animal products, and it's been amazing. And I mean, you can turn it around so fast. That's where the frustration comes in when you try to share this with other people. Just try it for 2 weeks. Just give me 14 days and try this. And I think most people would, that've never gone low carb or keto or carnivore would be shocked at how fast you can start feeling better. And we see people online saying, I've been carnivore for 21 days, nothing's happened. I haven't had any weight loss, nothing, So for some people, and to me, my thought process is it's all about your liver. If your liver is very, very clogged with visceral fat, because your liver accounts for so much, it may take longer for that person to feel different, but you're probably going to lose the inflammation, lose a lot of water weight. I haven't gone to any electrolytes yet because I haven't felt like I need it, but I do have some of the unflavored LMNT, and I drink a big bottle of water every day in a glass container. So if I start feeling my legs cramping or whatever from the sudden flushing of all this water, then I've got the electrolytes to catch myself, and I'm still using the Redmonds on basically everything. But yeah, I feel, it's mind-boggling that in 1 week you can feel so much different,
Yeah.
And I appreciate you guys noticing that. That makes me feel great. I love that. Thank you.
That's good. I want to bring this up from Peter. I'm going out to dinner tomorrow, he says. I've already got the meal plan. Going to get the bone-in pork chop, and I'm not going to eat any of the sides except for I'm going to get asparagus and put lots of butter. Yep. And he does say asparagus is one veg that he does enjoy, but not very often. Thomas' sister invited me out for Easter, but I am working until 2 p.m. and she said that may be too late, but I need the money and can't just call up.
Yeah. Me too, Thomas. I'm working 9 till 7 on Easter Sunday. So 10-hour day.
Yeah. Peter's working Sunday too.
And Brian, you said something earlier that I didn't even think about. My wife's making this ham, but you know what? I may ask her to make some deviled eggs, but instead of mayonnaise for the deviled eggs, we use sour cream. So you stay in Carnivore, and it's really, really, really good. You still get more like the filling that you put back in the egg, the deviled part of the deviled egg. If you use sour cream, it's really, really creamy. So I've got a whole bunch of eggs. I went to Sam's the other day and loaded up on eggs. They did have a limit of 2 18-packs, but they did away with the limit, so I got a bunch of eggs. So maybe I'll ask her to make me some deviled eggs to go with the ham, since I won't be eating anything else.
How many packs did you buy?
4 18-packs. That's not, they're pasture raised organic eggs. They're the Sam's brand, which is I can't remember the member's mark. And it's 18-pack for $5.99. It's hard to find pasture raised eggs.
Yeah, that's a pretty good price.
Yeah, and at Sam's, and for the longest time they had, they didn't have them. They were out forever. They finally got a couple pallets in that had limit 2, but now they've got them everywhere, and they took the limit 2 sign off. So I got 4 18-packs. So it was at 18. I got 72 eggs for $20-something, maybe $26, whatever it was, $28. But I eat a lot of eggs. Eggs are probably 60% of my calories. Well, no, probably not that, because there's only 60 calories in an egg. But like for breakfast this morning, I had 5 strips of bacon and 6 eggs. That was my breakfast this morning. I usually eat between 6 and 10 eggs a day. So a good bit of my calories, even when I screw up, a good bit of my calories come from eggs. And because of the choline and all, the protein, the fats that are in there, they're like the super pill, if you will, for low carb people. I do love eggs. I could eat them every day, especially when you scramble them in bacon grease.
Oh yeah, that's good that way. Jerry says hi. Happy Passover.
Happy Passover, Jerry.
Peter says deviled eggs using sour cream is delicious, or I've gotten Chosen brand avocado mayo. I actually know somebody that works at the headquarters for Chosen, and he sent me the avocado mayo and some sort of olive oil to try. So I actually haven't tried either one of them yet, but Carnivore, so it's hard to get me to do it. But they looking at the ingredients, they look pretty clean, pretty good.
Cool. And Brian, there's mine and your favorites. I was just gonna say real quick, but the other thing we talked about it before, but man, that Good Culture cottage cheese, I've gotten to where I love that stuff. It's just kind of expensive.
I can never find it.
I get the dark blue container. It's it's always like $2 more than the other. It's the whole milk or whatever. And Yeah, the grocery stores have it here, but the regular container, which is I don't know how many ounces it is, but not the big one, but the regular size one is like $6 or so, and I'll eat it in 2 days. I just love that stuff.
So there's like 4 different stores around here that used to carry it, and I think only one does now because they could never keep it in stock. And the one that does, the last few times I've gone there, it's been empty. That spot on the aisle is completely empty. So I can never seem to find it. It's crazy. Oh yeah. So Peter and pasture at the same time does not come out right. Peter says pasture raised eggs for $3.99 a dozen at Aldi. That's pretty good. Probably in line with the price you were paying. What's strange is that it says on the box 100% vegetarian food. How can that be possible? Chickens are pasture raised. Yeah. I mean, how would it be vegetarian? Well, I mean, they're just eating grass, I guess. Maybe.
Yeah, but if chickens are in the pasture, they're going to peck at the ground. They're going to get the bugs, the worms, the grubs, the things they're supposed to eat. But what's the saying? The early bird gets the worm, right? The early bird gets the worm. It doesn't get the grain, doesn't get the seeds. The early bird gets the worm. So I don't know why they think chickens are supposed to be vegetarian fed. Even in the nursery rhyme, the early bird gets, not the nursery rhyme, but the little saying, birds are not vegetarians. They eat, we've had a bird in the backyard. We had a robin eat it during a little, what do you call it? I'm having a brain fart. Lizard. So the other day there was a lizard running around on my back porch, and a robin swooped in and got it and just took it. So birds, like chickens, are a bird. They're not vegetarians. They eat bugs and grubs and worms and stuff like that, and they even eat lizards from time to time.
Yeah.
And some big birds eat other birds.
Paul said, "You believe the pasture raised? It's not what you think." Peter says, "Yeah, it's a scam." And then Paul says, "You have to read the legal definition." That's just like with the organic. It's not as clean as you actually think organic is, right? I guess it's probably just a way for them to really raise the price, really, because you have to pay attention to that stuff. It's so much more expensive than the regular. So yeah, I don't know. Rick eats lizards too.
Big ones,
Iguana.
Big juicy ones.
Iguana. Yes. Yeah, I will say, most of the time, if you get pasture raised eggs, they seem to be pretty pasture raised, because you can tell the difference in the yolk, the color of the yolk. And most of the time, not all the time, I've gotten pasture raised eggs before that were actually pretty yellow. And I'm like, yeah, they just threw whatever out in the pasture for them to eat. But most of the time, they turn out pretty good.
Mm-hmm. The ones I get at Sam's, I have had some off-brand before, Brian, like you saying, you're thinking, I don't think these are pasture raised because the eggs are yellow and they scramble real easy. But the ones I get from Sam's, the yolks are almost a red. They're very dark orange or red. And then when you go to scramble them, it's hard to break the yolks up. The yolks want to kind of stay together versus the cheaper eggs where it just mixes into yellow. Get some of the Sam's pasture raised eggs, and I can taste the difference. I think I feel better if that's not in my psychosomatic or in my mind. And I love them. I love them. But I have had some of the cheaper ones when money was tight. I'd buy the cheaper ones and put a couple of cheap eggs with a couple of the pasture raised eggs, and it's like it won't even hardly mix in the bowl. Almost like water and oil, it won't mix, which is kind of crazy. So they may not be perfectly pasture raised, but I think they're a whole lot better than the stuff coming out of the chicken houses with 40,000 chickens in one little bitty coop.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So Johnny, I think like a couple hours ago you were telling me about something. Do we want to talk about that a little bit so that people are aware?
Yeah, we can. We can. Yeah.
Okay, I'll let you go ahead and take the floor.
Well, this is pretty much, guys, probably going to be my last appearance on Real Talk for a little while. I don't know if it's forever, but next week I'll be back down in Aiken, moving some more stuff down there. We're trying to get our house. We're getting really close now to having our house ready to put on the market. So we're going to be out of town next week, and then for 4 weeks after that, every Wednesday night I'll be in class, taking that CNA course that I've got to go through. I got to jump through the hoops to get my South Carolina certification for my CNA, and I'm going this Monday through Thursday, 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. So that's the next 5 Wednesdays. I'll be gone, and then if I've got a job interview in a couple weeks. Not the exact job I want, but it's this people have been kind of pursuing me for a while, and they've made a pretty good offer, and it looks like it's going to happen if I don't get anything else between now and then. All of the CNA jobs that I've applied for have gone nowhere. So this is a job doing essentially the same thing I'm doing now, but doing it for a much, much larger company. As a matter of fact, the company that we are a subcontractor for, so we call it the mothership. The mothership wants to hire me, and I have an interview with them. And if I get hired on with them, then I think I have to work every other Wednesday. So we'll see how everything works out. But I just don't want to commit and then not be able to be here at all. So I'm going to step aside and finish this move, get the house ready, get our house on the market, take that class for 4 weeks, get moved down to Aiken, hopefully, and then I'll pop back up at some point in time. I appreciate that, Thomas. I'm going to miss you guys too. You may see me in the comments, lurking in the comments if I have a chance, but like if I'm on break at school or whatever, but I'll definitely be watching in the replays, and maybe Brian will get somebody to replace me or may bring in special guest or whatever. Brian and I haven't really talked about that, but this has been a blast. It's been great. You guys have supported me, like everybody giving me comments tonight or compliments tonight on the week that I had. You've not kicked me to the curb because I can't seem to stay as disciplined as I need to stay. But anyway, that was just a little something we thought we would go ahead and let everybody know. But you can still see me on Facebook. A lot of you guys are my friend on Facebook, so I'll still be posting all my stuff there. And I feel pretty solid with my diet going forward because this week's been pretty stressful, and I've been 100% solid, been perfect. And I lost 10 pounds in a week. And like I said earlier, not meaning to be too repetitious, but I feel like I have real momentum now, and I really do. And the weather is nice. It was 90 degrees here today. So I can get out there and start doing those sprints.
Yeah.
No,
John,
Peter.
Okay.
I was just going to go ahead and answer. It's actually up here. It's up here. The money is a lot better. Benefits are better. Retirement's better. Insurance is better. Equipment's better. Everything is better, but it's based up here. And so the wife and I have talked, and if it happens that I don't get a job, I don't land a job in Aiken, this particular job is 3 days in a row. So like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So I could commute, come up here, work the 3 days. We have some friends that have a spare bedroom that's nobody's using. They said I could crash in when I'm up here. And so I could make that work for a while. I could work up, live in Aiken and work here and just like say come up on say Thursday night if I'm working that Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then when I get off work on Sunday, just drive back home. So not the perfect situation, but a doable one. And then I'll just keep working on trying to land a job down closer to where we're going to be living.
Yeah. Okay. Jason just joined. Hello, Jason. Good to see you. That's what happened. So just quick synopsis. Johnny is going to be stepping away from Real Talk for at least a while. Got a lot going on. He's got a class he's going to be doing here for like 4 or 5 weeks in a row and so forth. And so my plan right now is to continue to go live and probably have a guest come in, guest speaker, whatever, guest speaker, you know what I mean? A guest co-host, whatever, for the week, each week, whatever. Obviously I've had Rick on quite a bit in the past. We both had him on even when we were both here at times. So I'm sure he'll be a speaker at or a speaker. Why do I keep saying speaker? I'm sure he'll be a co-host at one point and so forth, sure. But it might be good to, bring some different people in different, each week or something. So we'll see how it goes. Probably something like that. Yeah. Paul says you could sleep in the ambulance.
Yeah, you're right. And I've done that before. The problem is the ambulances they use here, They call it hot seat. So when you are done, the next person gets in your ambulance and takes over. So the ambulances run 24/7. So I would be in the back of the ambulance while they're trying to work. But they do have. I haven't been to the new office yet, but they built a new office right over by the airport. And if they got like couches and recliners in there, I'm not above just laying in a recliner and dozing off and waking up, grabbing a shower, and be ready for my next shift. I'm gonna make it work. We'll figure out a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. Eventually, something will open up in Aiken or in Augusta down there, and I'm not worried about it. It's going to work out.
Yeah, that's a good attitude to have about it.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I don't think I really got a chance to say, but it's been great doing the show with you. So thank you. I think that we've gelled really well together and so forth. So I will definitely miss you. And you're definitely welcome to come back whenever you can. Even if it's not full time again, if it's just, every once in a while, whatever, it will be great. But yes, I think that it's been my honor to do this show with you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so me too, Brian. And the fact that we got to spend, actually, when my wife and I drove up to Virginia and saw you and your wife, and you and I got to spend time together, and that was a blast. That was probably the highlight.
Except for the injury, right?
Yeah. That was great up until it wasn't.
Had injuries, actually.
Yeah, exactly. I'm meeting Greg when I got a chance to go meet with Greg when he was up in Iowa, and meeting you, and I actually met Hoosier Carnivore Brett. If you guys remember Brett, Hoosier Carnivore, got to actually meet him. These are, friends that I've made that I would never have made outside of this community. So a little bittersweet, I'll be glad to have that this little bit of time back to, put forth school and everything else. But who knows when all the dust settles and we're in our new house, because the new house has 2 bedrooms and 2 full baths downstairs, and then 2 bedrooms and another full bath upstairs. Well, my wife and I obviously are going to live downstairs, and the laundry's downstairs. That's why we're getting rid of this house, because everything is upstairs. But one of the spare bedrooms upstairs is going to be my man cave, or whatever. And I'm going to have my studio set up in there to do live streams and edit my videos and stuff, because I do plan on getting back to doing my actual videos for my channel. So maybe, Brian, when all the dust settles, you and I can reconnect and pick back up and maybe come up with a new idea for a new show or something. But I'm sure we'll be together again. I feel pretty confident in that.
All right.
And thank you there. That was very, very nice. Is that Jerry that just had that up there?
Yes, Jerry.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate the prayers. I covet your prayers. Thank you very much. And seems like things are going pretty well, actually.
Peter also said you got to do what you got to do to land a good job in Aiken. It'll happen sooner than you think. Okay.
I appreciate it. I firmly believe that.
So hello, Frank. He says, ChatGPT says vegetarian fed means hens given a diet without animal byproducts. Feed is grains, likely corn or wheat, soy, or other plant protein, vitamins, and minerals. Interesting.
But I've had chickens in my life before. I was born and raised on a farm. I can promise you, those chickens, they're picking that ground. They're getting grubs and worms and bugs and stuff too. I promise you that. Maybe they're having somewhat of a mixed diet.
We need to get Rick one of those big man cave signs to put in his house.
That's right.
Yes, this is true. His house looks like a vintage 1960s or 50s general store stock room inside.
Yep.
Sandy's here. Hello, Sandy.
Hey, Sandy. Sandy Blythe, 4508.
It's definitely unique, but it's cool. Like Peter says, it's super cool. It is. All right. So let's see. What else do we want to do? We want to talk about anything else with the topic of surviving carnivore? I think we kind of pretty much talked about what we need to. I guess while we're talking about it, since Easter is coming up, if you're celebrating Easter, go ahead in the chat and put in what foods you're planning on eating. We already kind of told you about what we were planning on eating, but we'd like to hear what you guys are eating too for Easter.
And Brian, there's a few more holidays coming up, right? We got Memorial Day. It's not too far off. It's in May, right? The end of May, Memorial
grilling.
Day. A lot of grilling. They said the, and then you got 4th of July. I mean, there's a lot of holidays aren't only obviously Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's. You got these these spring and summer holidays too. And man, those tend to be a little more carnivore friendly, I think. Don't you think? I mean, there's always going to be the pies and the cakes and stuff like that. But man, when you break that grill out, get that charcoal going, get those steaks out there, burgers or dogs or whatever, that really speaks to my carnivore heart. I love. My wife and I grilled. Was it last week? I think we grilled I grilled. Well, she actually helped me too. It was a London broil. Didn't work out really good. The meat was great, had a great flavor, but it's kind of a tough cut of meat. But yeah, I can't wait to get the grill going again.
Yeah,
I haven't had any steak
of the winter. Well, I was just gonna say, most of the winter I've been doing my steaks in the air fryer in the house because it's been cold and everything. And there's been a couple times that it's been warmer and I've cooked out on the pellet grill with my steaks, and the difference, like, I don't know, it's just so good that way. I mean, to me, steak, burger patties, whatever, they're all good anyway. They taste so good, but then you get that grilledness to it, and it's just so good. Anyway, okay. Rick says he's going to have iguana.
But we got plenty of it now down there.
Oh, Sandy's thinking about doing it, air frying a turkey breast. That's cool. I've done that before at Christmas. We usually do. What was it? Yeah, it was at Christmas. We usually do ham, and we did our ham like normal. But then I also did a turkey breast in the air fryer, and it was so good. It was so juicy that way. It was really good.
Brian, I got a question for you. Something I've never asked you before.
Okay.
When you have burger patties, how do you cook? Do you cook them? I've seen you eat steak. Your steaks are usually between medium rare and rare, it seems like. When you cook your burger patties, how do you cook those? Do you cook them to pretty rare or medium? When you make burger patties, how do you have those on the inside?
Good question. They're more done than that. Usually I'll have a little bit of pink inside. I tend to cook them more so because I buy the packages of ground beef where they may have been, there's a bigger chance of contamination compared to the slabs of steak that I buy, right? That I'm cutting on my own steaks. So I tend to cook them better, but they usually have a little bit of pink to them.
Yeah, that's cool.
Cynthia is planning a big dinner with ham, potatoes, all the sides, and pies. Are you gonna eat the potatoes and the pies? Interesting. Oh, this is pretty cool. Thomas just got Bella's one of his guests on his channel.
Oh wow,
that's nice.
Steak and butter gal, right?
So Peter asked the same things. Are you gonna eat all those sides, potatoes and pies? That's what I want to know. Is she gonna eat that?
Inquiring minds want to know.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that is great. I've never actually reached out to Bella, but I didn't think that she really talked to a lot of people in the community, kind of like Rick said. So that's pretty cool that you got her to come on your channel. That's going to be a really exciting live stream, I think, to watch.
Sure. And bring a lot of eyes to Thomas's channel, that's for sure.
Yeah. So should be a good story. Yeah, I think it will be a good story. Okay.
Do you see where Cynthia answered us?
Cynthia, yeah. I will eat only ham. Okay. So the pies and potatoes are for everybody else. That's okay. That's good. Bro Lewis. That sounds like a classic name, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Duck and iguana guy. What's that?
As opposed to steak and butter gal.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Rick's gonna change his name, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna have to go back and watch that then.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
I did not hide any comments. I don't remember seeing John. I don't remember him commenting. I don't think I
Was
saw
that a
him.
troll on our channel or something?
No. Yeah, Jessica Chance. Yeah, that's pretty cool that she responded back and everything. That's really cool. Oh, Cynthia's making Chris's carnivore mashed potatoes. Okay. For my husband and me, I make it often since I have lots of egg whites and I am always trying to use up. Okay, cool.
I saw a recipe on somebody's channel today. I don't remember what it was, but it was a carnivore bread. It was eggs, it was egg whites, and I think it had yolks in it too, and it had cottage cheese and some, I think, baking powder or something. So it was pretty close to 100% carnivore, and it looked really good. I've never made any of the carnivore bread or carnivore mashed potatoes, but that'd be interesting to try some of that stuff, especially right here at the holidays, especially if you're going to an event and there's gonna be a lot of food there. You can make a carnivore mashed potatoes, for example, and take them and let people eat them. And then when it's all said and done, tell them what they ate. Those were carnivore mashed potatoes, by the way. You know.
So Jason said, John Stud, answer me. And Peter said, I don't see John Stud here. Can't see his comments. Thomas doesn't see him.
Yeah.
And then Jason's asking, did you block him? Is Jason seeing somebody comment that nobody else can see?
Wow.
I'm confused.
I'm going back through the comments to see if I can see anything. I'm not seeing anything. Plus, you scan them pretty good, Brian.
Yeah.
Can't imagine you'd miss that.
Yeah. There should not be anybody hidden that we can't see.
John Stud, how you doing? How's the broccoli? That was Jason said, John Stud, how you doing? How's the broccoli? I don't know, unless he's watching two different live streams and got him confused.
Oops. He says, I mean, you can block people by clicking their name and blocking so you won't see any comments. I bet that's what happened.
Could be, yeah.
But even if Peter did that, then the rest of us should be able to see his comments. I think, yeah, maybe were you in two live streams and it was in the other live stream? Because I haven't seen anything here. I didn't block anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, Peter's saying I can block seeing someone's comments and others should still be able to see. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know where Jason's seeing him. I don't think it's in this chat.
Yeah.
Cynthia says, my family knows to be wary of my foods and wouldn't eat any mashed potatoes that have the possibility of being carnivore.
So her reputation precedes her.
John was in Butter Bob's stream. Interesting.
That Butter Bob guy, he was around before and then kind of came back recently, right?
Yeah. Yeah. He was around before I was watching anything here on YouTube for, low carb, carnivore, that stuff. I think right before I started watching stuff, he had kind of disappeared. So I know Greg used to talk about him sometime.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I thought I saw where Carrie had an interview with him recently. I didn't watch the video, but I did see the thumbnail.
Yeah.
So maybe
I didn't really see it either. I noticed carnivores like to imitate carb foods like pizza, crust bread, etc., just like the vegans imitate meat. We do see that a lot.
Yeah.
I've tried a little bit here and there, but to be honest, I haven't really done a lot just because it's just so simple to just eat beef,
Yeah.
chicken wings, whatever.
Mhm.
I know I'm on a big beef kick right now, but it's just so simple to do that. There's Rick say the same thing. I never imitate duck food because meat is so good.
Exactly.
Yes, if you're like keto or whatever, I've heard of that, making cauliflower mashed potatoes. I have heard.
I
of
made those
that.
one time when I was keto, and it was okay, but I had put so much butter and salt in there, it ended up basically just being butter and salt mashed potatoes because the cauliflower, once you drained the water out of it and got the water out of it, it was almost nothing left. But I have seen people do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Rick says Butter Bob was out for 10 years. Sandy says 12 years gone. So he was gone there for a while.
Sure.
Yeah. I agree with that, except I didn't block anybody. I'm not even sure how I would do that from StreamYard because we're streaming in StreamYard. So I'd have to go into YouTube to do it. And I haven't done anything. So I don't know. That's weird.
We've been pretty blessed, Brian, the whole time we've been together. We really hadn't had that many trolls in our comments.
Yeah, it hasn't been too bad. And Peter's saying Russ didn't block or hide John Stud's comments. He enjoyed watching others roast him, and he also made fun of him too. So that would have been on the keto cookout, I'm assuming, yesterday.
Probably.
So Lance says you can block in StreamYard. Okay. I'm not sure how. Let me see if I can figure out how to do it. Into StreamYard. Oh, there's a people option. I bet you. No, that's just showing us. Huh. I don't know how you do it. Cynthia says she's never seen Butter Bob or heard of him. I think he did a little bit stray. I saw like his video when he came back and he said that he had gained some weight, kind of got a little bit, I guess, lackadaisical. And yeah, he wanted to get back into it and was talking about how he thought that community was really important, and that's kind of where his downfall was he kind of slipped away from the community, and that hurt him.
Yep.
Jason has a question for you. How often do you slip up?
None this week. It just depends on when life hands me a whole bunch of stress and I have a hard time dealing with it. I've gone 7, 8, 9 months with no slip ups, and then this whole first part of the year I've just been slipping up, falling, getting back up, slipping up, falling. But I'm a firm believer that you don't ever really lose until you quit trying, and I will never quit. And this week has been a prime example. From last Monday to today, so 9 days. In 9 days, I've lost 10 pounds, and I feel amazing. And I've had 0 slip-ups. And I'm just finding better ways to deal with stress. And went and bought a bunch of groceries, so I had some carnivore foods at the ready. And so it happens, Nobody's perfect. Well, Rick is, but he's got 40 years of practice on us, But even Brian has messed up a time or two, the whole cake icing debacle. But everybody does. I mean, it'd be hard to find somebody other than like maybe Rick or Maggie, Carrie, people like that just have that, whatever it is, that they're able to not make any mistakes. The rest of us fell off the horse, and we have to kind of climb back up on the horse. And that's what I've done. But thank you for asking the question.
Holly is here. Good evening.
Hey, Holly.
So Rick says he might be the only carnivore that Carrie has not interviewed one-on-one. He hasn't been interviewed me either. So You're not the only one. There's at least 2 of us. Well,
the reason he interviewed me, he had like he put the link in a video, and you could click on it, and anybody that wanted to could click on it. And so I clicked on it, and he chose me. And then he's got this his 3-year carniversary coming up, whatever it was. And he put out a video of everything that he's very proud of. And one of the first things was me talking on there about how I felt like he really had saved my life, and I still feel that way. And I will always feel a certain loyalty to him, because I found his videos, and that's what turned my life around. I don't know that I would still be alive, and if I were alive, I'd be disabled in a wheelchair if I had not found Carrie's videos. And he forever has my heart, and I will never, ever, ever stray away from that. I'm loyal. If I'm nothing, I'm loyal. I'm loyal to a fault.
So Lance says you can block or put someone in timeout. I put JS on timeout the first time and blocked the second time. He was a jerk. So that is from StreamYard, huh? Mm-hmm. You have to tell me how to do it, because I can't figure out how to do it. Not that I really necessarily need to, but I don't see how to do it. Like if I click on your comment, it just shows it or doesn't show it. Oh, wait, there are 3 dots. Let me look at this. Oh, there you go. You got to click on the 3 dots. Delete comment, put user in timeout, or ban user and delete their comments. Interesting. Okay, now I know. I didn't know that. You could do that from StreamYard. I thought you had to go into YouTube to do it. Very cool. Thanks, Lance. Yeah, I agree about this. He's talking about Carrie not interviewing Rick before. I understand, because you're the longest standing carnivore that I know of. Yeah, you would think he would have had Rick on there. Thomas looked up in the original John Studd. I remember Big John Studd. Yes, he was a powerhouse wrestler that took on people like Andre the Giant or Hulk Hogan. Probably not the same guy. I don't even know if Big John Studd is still alive. So yeah, but probably thinks we are all giants of Carnivore. Yes, I remember Big John Studd when I was a kid wrestling. Yes. Butterbob went back to the duck food and gained weight. He's serious about getting lean again. Yeah,
kind of like me.
John Studd started out attacking me, but seems to have given up on that. Yeah. Oh, when you're talking about, so the question about, slip ups, Peter says I've messed up many, many times, but I just keep going. I'm doing fine. Yep. That's what it's about. Just keep going. Never give up.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. Carrie may be very clean. I'm not sure.
And I will say this about Carrie. This is not a knock or anything, but he does seem to have, because he's basically self-employed. He owns the movie theater. He owns the farm. He owns the Airbnb. So he's not being drug around by a boss, the man, if you will. And I think he probably does a pretty good job of knowing when he's going to eat, where he's going to eat. He's usually pretty much around the house, so he can go in and fix something. I work in the back of an ambulance going down the road. Sunday, I worked from 8:30 a.m. to 10:40 p.m. without any kind of a break at all. We didn't get a lunch. We didn't get anything. And we had a 600-pound patient followed by a 700-pound patient. And those 2 patients, the 700-pound, we had a hard time getting him in his house. It wouldn't fit through the door. And so I when I worked at Lowe's, I had a set hour. I think from 12 to 1 every day I went to lunch. Every day. We had a break room with a hot plate and a microwave. And I didn't mess up a single time when I worked at Lowe's. It was so perfect. But I had a pretty regimented day. I knew what time to clock in. I worked 11-hour shifts with a 1-hour lunch. And I ate same foods pretty much every day. I could prep my meals at home, take them, put them in the fridge at work. It was just easier. And I'm not making excuses, or maybe I'm making excuses. But when you work all over, up, down the interstate, here, there, and everywhere, and you don't know if you're going to get a lunch, what time you're going to get a lunch, and you might be warming up your food and they call you and say, hey, we got another call. We need you to go right now to do so-and-so. It just makes it a little bit tougher. When I get my new job, whether it be, if I land a job in the hospital, I think I'll be back to not having all those temptations, because I'll have a very set, specific time to go eat lunch or eat dinner or whatever, and I can take my Carnivore food with me and put it in the fridge. You know, I don't have access to any of that where I work. So that'll be easier.
I think it matters too, like your personality. Like some people just have a very addictive type of personality. And I'm gonna use an example here with smoking. My grandfather on my parents' side, my mom's side, he smoked a lot, and he found out he had cancer in his leg and had to have surgery to remove the cancer. And he stopped just like that, never had another cigarette the rest of his life, like 30 years, right? My grandmother on my wife's side of the family got cancer from smoking. She smoked for years, and up to the day she died, she kept smoking. She could not stop. I think that a lot of it just depends too on the personality you have, and it's going to be the same way with eating sugar, eating carbs, because it's addicting. And if you have type of person that has an addicting, very addicting personality, it's going to be a lot harder to stay clean all the time than other people. That's my take on it, at least. Yeah. Let's see. Cynthia says today is my 3-year carniversary, so congratulations.
Yep.
Yes. Oh, Jerry as well. Very good.
Awesome. Congratulations. Oh, happy carniversary to both you guys. Mine's July 1. It'll be 3 years July 1.
I'll be 4 years on July 1st. I didn't realize we both started on July 1st.
Yeah, it's a year apart.
Yeah. Let's see. That's cool. You also decided to start the silly diet on April Fool's Day. Yeah. They talk about trying to get Rick to eat 2 heart attack burgers. And he says, no way, 4 pounds is my limit. So how much is each burger? Is it 3 pounds?
I don't know. I know Thomas tried to do, I didn't see the video, but Thomas tried to do something with that heart attack burger on one of his videos last week or week before last.
Well, it came from Rick. Rick's the one that created the heart attack burger. So maybe he'll tell us how many pounds it is. Standard American diet made me a fool for 62 years, and I wasn't about to continue any of that shenanigans in my life.
Yep.
Thomas says, I think Carrie mentioned once that he also has a job as well. Not sure what he does exactly. Interesting. I'm not sure.
Well, I know he owns the Montello Theater, and he runs an Airbnb. He runs the farm, and they have a a kennel business there on the farm. And of course, he does all the stuff with the documentary and stuff. But I'm not saying he's not busy. I'm saying he probably has, like, he can probably go sit down and eat lunch and nothing bad's going to happen. Like Brian works from home primarily. He goes in the office some, but Brian, I'm sure you have a chance to go in there in your kitchen and fix food and have a specific lunchtime.
Yeah.
And you know what you're going to eat. You can cook it right there and then clean up later if you need to. When you're riding around the back of ambulance all day long, 65, 70 miles an hour, up, down I-77, I-85, 485, all this stuff. It's a different world.
Yeah. It's a lot easier when you're at home. I'll definitely say that, because there are days that I do go into the office, and most of the time I just try and not eat on those days, because I'm the type of guy that just rather make my food and eat it, right? I don't like the whole making it and then taking it in and warming it up and all that kind of stuff. But I also don't want to just go and get fast food or restaurant food or whatever. So anyway, I was gonna bring this up for Rick. I can eat a whole pacemaker pizza, he says, but it's a stretch, and it is over 3 pounds. Wow.
When I make my dish that I make where I brown the hamburger meat and I put sour cream and maybe sometimes some cheese and some jalapenos in there, That's 1 full pound of ground beef, and it's 85/15, so it doesn't necessarily shrink up a whole lot, but it sure doesn't seem like much food when I eat it. And that's a pound of meat, and I get to eat now. I'm like, that doesn't seem like a lot, so I might bump it up to 2 pounds. Who knows? Especially when I start exercising again.
600 and 700 pound patients. That's how big and sick Bill Knott and also Lindy in Australia were before Carnivore. Yeah, way of eating definitely saved lives. Yeah, there was that
700-pound guy,
Anthony, the Anthony guy that's on Facebook too. He lost like a ton of weight too.
Oh no, that one, he on with us.
Yeah, I can't remember how much he lost, but he lost a ton of weight as well,
like 400 pounds or something.
Something like that. Yeah, like 400 or 500 pounds. I thought. Yeah. So that pizza, the crust is chicken eggs and cheese, and is full of meat and cheeses. Wow. There you go, iguana for a topping. We communicated with Bill Nye and Carrie, but each other fell off planet and died young. I don't remember hearing about that one. That's too bad.
What's the guy's name? He's in Texas, kind of a cowboy guy. He's lost a ton of weight. Does a lot of stuff with Lindy. Him and Lindy have a show on Sunday.
Yeah. Todd Bachnes. Yeah.
And there was another guy on that show, and I was watching their show. This been probably a year and a half ago, and they were kind of giving their testimonials or their stories. Michael.
Was his name Michael, I think?
Yeah. And I don't know. I haven't seen that show in a while. I don't know if they're still doing it, but when Michael gave his testimony about how long it had been since he'd been outside, and what all he'd been through being that obese and everything, man, it literally had me crying. I hope he's doing okay. I haven't seen or heard anything from him in a while, but I know he was really struggling with a lot of health issues, and he was pretty big guy. The 700-pound guy we had this past Sunday, I've had him before. He's 36 years old, and he's blind. His kidneys are failing, and we took him home, and the soda everywhere, Sprite, Dr. Pepper. There's big boxes of Little Debbie cakes, and there's just like snacks of all kinds. I didn't see any food in his house at all, and he can't stand up. He can't do anything. At 700 pounds, his legs won't support it, and he's just not much longer for this world. And I mentioned to him about cutting carbs, and he said, "No, I'm getting on a GLP-1. I'll be fine." And that was back in October, and he's just I think he's probably put on weight between then and now. Wow. I pray for these people, man. Just pray for them, Yeah. The 600-pound guy is 49 years old, and he's in and out of the hospital all the time because his health is really failing. And he's a super nice guy. I love him to death, but my gosh, it's not that hard. And these people have somebody that's going and getting their food, because if you're 600-700 pounds, you're not getting up and going to the store. Somebody's bringing them the food, and I don't know, the enablers or whatever. But remember that TV show, is it My 600-Pound Life or whatever, with Dr. Wasn't it Dr. Nas or whatever?
Yeah,
I used to watch those, and a lot of times at the end it come back and say that the person relapsed, fell back off the thing, got heavy and died. Or sometimes people would die on the show, and they would actually, it'd be an episode and they show the episode and the person didn't survive. Pretty sad.
Yeah.
Oh, Todd's from Montana.
So I think this is. What's that?
Oh, they said Todd's from Montana. I was thinking Texas. He's from Montana. That's right.
Okay. He wears a cowboy hat. That must be why you were thinking Texas. But yeah, I think Montana is right. So Rick is talking about his heart attack cheeseburger here. 2 pounds of beef, pound of bacon, 4 ounces of cheese. I think I could try that, man. I might be able to eat that in one setting. It'd be close. It'd be tough. I'd be really full, I think. That is a lot, though.
That would definitely be an OMAD kind of day. Yeah.
See, try and catch up here on comments. Yeah. They're saying Todd is from Montana.
Yeah.
Wow. Rick has never been hospitalized.
Wow.
What is this? Doctor.
Yeah, doctor. No, wait. That's the guy from 600, My
Wait.
600-Pound Life. He's the doctor.
Really? So
Yeah.
his last name is very similar to mine.
It is. They
Take
call
out
him
the
doctor
T and
now
put a
because
C.
no one can pronounce his name.
Interesting.
Yeah. You've never seen that show, Brian?
I heard of it, but I never watched it.
Yeah. Yeah. That takes somebody that's like morbidly obese and follow him for like a year.
Is this the place that's in Las Vegas that he's talking about? The Heart Attack Grill, I think. Quadruple bypass burger? I think so. The waitresses wear like nurse outfits and stuff. I think if that's what I'm thinking of, I think that's what he's talking about. So that's when he was hospitalized. Oh, that's probably true. Rick was hospitalized then. Yes. Who knows? Rick can let us know. Yeah. So that place is in Las Vegas, the Heart Attack Grill. Yeah. I did not eat there, but I did see it. Thought it was interesting, but I did not actually eat there. Okay, I am caught up on comments. I think we're probably gonna cut it off here in a few minutes. So, Johnny, since this is probably your last show here for a while, why don't you close us out? Whatever you want to talk about.
All right. I'd just like to say thank you to everyone who's been on here, who's been a loyal follower of ours. Some of you have been on every episode. Cynthia, obviously Rick, Thomas, ever since you found us, you guys have been super loyal to Brian and I. I appreciate it. The love and support from the community is what gets me by. It's what keeps me going. It's what helps me get back on the horse when I fall off. Again, I'm 9 days sober, if you will, and we're onward and upward. Like I said, when the smoke clears and we get our house sold and get moved into our new house, the plan would be for me to come back if Brian's still doing this and everybody's a game. Maybe Brian and I can come back and come up with a new show or something like that, or pick up where we left off here. I look forward to watching whoever Brian has on as a guest host or whatever. If he finds a regular host, that'd be fine too. And when I can, you'll see me pop in the comments, and I will be watching on the replay. I watched most of Brian's stuff. I watched his video earlier about his doctor's appointment, and I watched his video the other day about going to mostly beef. So I try to watch all of Brian's stuff. Don't have time to watch everybody's stuff. I used to watch all of Rick's stuff, but my time is just so spoken for right now, trying to get this house ready to sell and going to school and doing all that stuff we talked about last week. But I just want to say thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Brian, this has been a blast. You're a true friend. You people don't know this, but you and I communicate a lot, during the week, over and above the show. We talk about other things too. And maybe I can get back out to Virginia and we can spend some more time together. Or if you make it down to this area, we can hang out one day. That would be amazing.
Yeah, that would be great. Rick, I think I've interviewed like 3 times now or something ridiculous like that. Something like that. 2 or 3 times. Oh, well. All right. Yes. Thank you, Johnny. Like I said before, it's been a pleasure. Everybody, thanks for joining tonight, and I'll see y'all next Wednesday. Bye, everybody.